Good afternoon, Tom Dermody, Mayor of the City of Laporte, back here on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon for another AMA, Ask Me Anything. We kind of missed Dr. Leonard here from Laporte Hospital last week, but we're glad to have you back as well. We'll be having Bert, our Economic Development Director from Leap, who will give us a little bit of insight on Rural King and their big announcement yesterday. So let's start with Dr. Leonard. And Dr. Leonard, glad to have you back and be a part of it from Laporte Hospital.
Thanks a lot. It's great to be back.
So things, I think since you've last been on here, have loosened up based on the governor's announcement and so forth, which obviously, in my opinion, brings out a little concern, people getting back to some normalcy. What are you seeing here with COVID in the court and what's been happening over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so far we're hanging in there. Even with the opening up in some steps, some phases, we're not seeing an increase within our county. The situation out at Westfield Correctional Facility seems to be under control. We're having calls daily with them and monitoring the status of what's going on within the correctional facility, and that seems to be under control. In relation to patients that need to come out into our hospital system. Outside of that, our county numbers are running still really low and very flat. To go over some numbers again, I think that would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Overall, I'll start from the top. Total U.S. cases now is at 1.3 million. U.S. deaths are at 80,000. Indiana, total state Indiana positive cases, 25,130. Deaths in Indiana, a little over 1,400. Total tested within our state, 56,000. That's about a 20% positive rate. In Laporte County, we have now 335 cases total. Porter County next door has got 353. Stark has 23. St. Joe, 847 cases. Lake County is up at a little over 2,500, and Marion County is at a little over 7,500 cases. So within the hospital system itself, we've tested 954 patients, 55 are positive, negative 869. Inpatients positive, we got 6. So when we don't have patients under investigation, we have the ability at our hospital to do a rapid turnaround test of a PCR test. Just as sensitive as what the state is, actually a little bit better than what the state and some private facilities are able to run at as far as specificity of testing goes. So if a patient needs to be admitted to our hospital, we can run that test, get a result back within 45 minutes, and then we know is the patient positive or negative, depending on their status, we can properly put them in the right area of the hospital. Those patients that test positive for COVID-19 are secured in a separate area of the hospital, and they're assigned a specific care team, and they're allocated all the proper personal protective equipment to keep the patient safe, keep healthcare workers safe, and keep the situation contained within the hospital.
Well, I'll tell you, by the way, we have had a couple messages. We are working on our sound. I think we're getting there. So hang with us. We've got our communications director expertise, Jess Bruder, in line, as well as Tim Frankie with Doolin Media. If you need some social media help, check out Doolin Media. We appreciate all the volunteer time here helping us move forward. So, Doc, what does that mean for the city of Laporte now that the numbers are low? I assume that doesn't mean people can start going back out without masks, without the proper PPE, and should just start enjoying life with everybody's normal.
That's right. This is not over. The virus has not changed. Its virulency or strength of contagiousness is not any different. It's still out there. It's still prevalent. It's still catching. The reason our numbers are under control is because of our success with social distancing and with hygiene. So if we keep up what we've been doing, and we're very cautious and very aware, very intentional about where we go, how we distance, and how we protect ourselves and each other, we should be okay.
That's great. So right now, if people do have symptoms, the weather's getting better, but if they still are having symptoms, what are those main symptoms people are going through right now? And then I think you have the toll-free number that puts you on the spot.
Sure.
How can we call?
Sure. So again, the common symptoms: fever, body aches, cough, shortness of breath. The list goes on and on. It could be a little bit of a sore throat, a headache, just not feeling yourself. In children, it's more of a GI thing. Sometimes you get some GI upsets, some nausea, vomiting, some diarrhea. There is some rare situations in children where you can get a different type of physical and clinical presentation. If you see anything as far as a rash, discoloration of the lips, the fingers, the toes, conjunctivitis or redness of the eyes, child complaining of abdominal pain or chest pain, that can indicate a more serious version or condition associated with COVID-19 in children that is very rare and more common in children with comorbid conditions or underlying diabetes, heart conditions, immune compromise, things like that. Very rare, still, even in that subgroup of patients, still a very rare condition. But if you see anything like that in your child, don't hesitate, get to the doctor or get to the emergency department and get checked out. As far as screening, to get tested, if you have any of these symptoms, the screening hotline again, that number is 833-576-3627.
Don't hesitate to call. Get yourself checked out before you potentially come in contact with somebody else. You need to look out for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. The hospital system has a robust system now to be able to test patients quickly and get you answers you need quickly. We're also able to test our patients that are requiring elective surgeries and procedures. We're able to do that now. So if you have a medical condition that you know you've been putting on hold, chronic conditions, any condition that may be requiring a special procedure or surgery, it is time, it is safe to reach out to your physician and talk about what the next step should be. Again, to reassure the community, our hospital is safe. We have safeguards in place to protect you if you did need to come into the hospital to receive the care that you need. Much more important that you get the care you need to control and stabilize those chronic medical conditions, and especially those urgent conditions, sudden-onset of chest pain, stroke symptoms, anything where you feel you may have a medical emergency. It is safe and appropriate to get to the emergency department as soon as possible.
And again, you see in other states, the state level, the numbers are up and down, the reports, the state of the overall are doing pretty good. What are some other things you see medically that's coming down the track? In fact, we did have one question about contact tracing. How important is that going to be? And again, there are people on both sides of that issue, but how important is that from a medical perspective to see down the road?
Yeah. That would help to understand where we're going as a state and how we compare to our neighboring states on how this disease is progressing, what kind of course or trajectory it's going to take over the long run. When we can do population surveillance, who all has been in contact, that really can help. Contact tracing is very important to understand how the virus is being spread and to alert those folks who may have come in contact with someone who did become positive. So the more we can trace the course of this infection, the course of this disease, the more information we have, the better we can predict how much longer we have to go and what kind of safeguards we need to put in place and what safeguards work best to keep the situation under control.
And again, you're not taking a political side of the way. You're just saying strictly from a medical perspective, how that can help people safe.
Right. Everything that I would ever add input to is only related to the medical input of this. The scientific side of testing and surveillance, and then the medical side on the importance of receiving medical care when you do need it, and the importance of the hospital to assure that the system and the environment is safe so that you can go get the medical care that you need.
And I think the important that is, as I mentioned earlier, that you drive by the hospital and the parking lot is empty, but that is to keep all of us safe and keep patients in there so that they can recover.
Yeah, hats off to the community and to the county as a whole, and doing what you can to stay safe, stay separated, distance with it. You have been doing that by curbing the spread of the infection. You've enabled the hospital to not get overwhelmed with a volume of critical patients to such an extent that we wouldn't be able to care for everyone who really needed that care. That's not our situation. We are safe. We have the capacity. We have the resources. We have the staff and the physicians and the healthcare providers to help assist you and take care of you properly.
So, besides that, Doctor, our numbers are low. You think, compared to other counties as you see across, Laporte's still doing good things overall?
Laporte's doing a phenomenal job. I think, when you look at Laporte compared to Porter and San Joe County, that our numbers are looking really good. I think that our neighboring counties are doing a great job also. The numbers of positive cases in our county and in the surrounding counties are doing a really good job of trying to curtail this and keep the spread to a minimum. So overall, these numbers are great. Laporte County, individually is looking really good.
So then if you do call in and you do get a test, still going to be required to quarantine 14 days, which is free. Or if you're going to get an elective surgery, are you going to require 14 days? Is that going to be an important part of that as well?
Well, you'll have to quarantine as long as the test is pending. When you go in to get your swab, you'll be asked to go home and quarantine until you get contacted with the results of that test. For both patients that are symptomatic and for those that are coming in asymptomatic that are getting tested because they have an upcoming procedure or surgery. You do want to stay in. For the healthy patient that's planning a surgery or procedure, if you get swabbed and your test is pending and then you go out into the community and you're intermingling with other folks, you could have then contracted the virus and your test may come up negative, and then you caught the virus and then you're going in for surgery and you can put yourself and others at risk of doing that. So it's looking like, what the hospital is doing is if you're getting ready for surgery, getting ready for procedure, you're going to receive pre-admission testing. That is about a 72-hour out process. You'll be contacted from the physician's office about that entire process, where to go to get tested for your typical pre-admission testing, the blood work and things like that, if there ever was any required. And then then they'll do the COVID-19 nasopharyngeal swab as well. When you get that test done, you'll only have to stay quarantined for the 2 or 3 days that it's going to take to get an answer, sometimes even sooner than that.
Well, and I think we're on our way, and just bear with us as we get through the sound. We are good now. So we are good now. Hopefully you can hear that again. If you don't mind, I hate to ask because if you can go through one more time just to review that, hey, number one, we want to make sure you're calling in if you have certain symptoms. Do you want to go through those symptoms one more time? Because I think now we've got clarity on the,
Sure.
Sorry about that, Doc.
No problem, no problem.
There we go.
So typical symptoms of the virus: fever, cough, shortness of breath, body aches and pains, sometimes a headache. Sometimes it could begin with a mild sore throat. Those are the common symptoms, but there can be one-offs. You could have some GI upset as an adult. The GI component is more common in children. So watch your children very closely. If they have fever, sore throat, headache, a little bit of a cough, maybe some nausea, vomiting, diarrhea with a fever, any symptom like that, really these days it's, all bets are off. It can be COVID-19, so it's appropriate. Make a phone call to your physician, call the hotline, and be screened that way as well for any of these symptoms. If you screen in positive, requiring a test, they'll direct you on where to go and how to get that testing done. Again, that hotline, if it wasn't heard earlier, it's 833-576-3627.
And how important is a mask out in public? So whether people are going to dine sometime, to use a mask, and if you can't do it, in my opinion, for yourself, do it for the other people.
That's what it's all about. You are wearing that mask primarily for those around you. The point of the mask is to contain your own respiratory droplets. It's really not so much to prevent the spread of the virus getting yourself exposed to that from someone else. It's rather with your breathing and your talking. If you happen to cough, you are more likely to contain your own respiratory droplets. So if everybody's wearing masks, you are protecting each other, and you're going to reduce the spread that way.
And then again, continue as people come back to work. Try to minimize the interaction, and as well, washing your hands, the simple things. If you touch your face, and it's amazing how many times people touch their face once you tell them don't do it because you start thinking about it. How important is that?
Right. In fact, I think I just did it myself.
I wasn't going to say it, but I think you did do it. So
right. So again, I listen to my own advice. It's the mindfulness. Be mindful of where you're at. Be mindful of your surroundings. Be mindful of the amount of people in a room. If you enter into a restaurant, if you enter into the grocery store, no matter where you are, think about the number of people around you. Think about how close you are to them. Think about how well you feel, and make sure you have your mask on. Make sure you're keeping that minimum 6-foot distance, and you're washing your hands. And if you keep it up, if you keep up that constant mindfulness, we can continue to reduce the spread of this virus. And that's how we're going to be able to safely begin to open up.
great. And any other, I'm going to let you off the hook here, Doc, and any other last minute thoughts that as people come to summer, as ball games start slowly going out there, what do you recommend? This isn't somewhere you want to go out with all your best friends to the game and hang out and watch, whether it's your kids playing or whatever that is.
Yeah. Just recall that the virus is there. It's always out there. You're always going to be around it and come in contact with it, or someone that has it. So as you open up, as you're getting more active, again, keep your distance. It's nothing different than what we've been saying for the last 8 weeks, right? Keep your distance, mind the personal hygiene, wear your mask, continue to be careful. And again, a very important point on receiving medical care. Those chronic conditions do need to be managed appropriately by your physician. You need to get in and get those checkups done. When you have what you believe could be an unstable medical condition, seek immediate care. EMS is ready. They will protect you. They are protecting themselves. They will be careful when they come out to evaluate you. They'll be careful in the process to transport you to the hospital. The emergency department is set up appropriately to care for you safely, as are all the clinics. There's telemedicine services available to you through your physician's clinics, and the hospital is ready. It is prepared and has taken all the appropriate steps to keep you safe when you do need to come in for medical care. So please understand that, have confidence in your healthcare system that it will protect you, and it's there for you to keep you overall healthy.
And then as well, elderly. So if you even go to a family event, that doesn't keep you and allow you from just going up, giving hugs and so forth. You must continue to use social distancing, even when you're around family for Mother's Day, Father's Day, and for those events, right? And should you still wear masks, even in the family situations?
Most importantly, if you're going to be around elderly family members, that's very important. Keep in mind, anyone over the age of 65, we say 60 to 65 years old, anyone with an underlying medical condition, heart disease, diabetes, receiving care for cancer, asthma, COPD, any lung disorders, those folks are at a much higher risk to contract a severe form of the illness. So be very careful and mindful around them.
You heard it here. Dr. Leonard comes with us weekly to update, and it's great news, I guess, when we're minimizing what is happening, but we have to be relentless. And when you go to the grocery store, this isn't entertainment value going to the grocery store. Stop taking the entire family there, 1, 2 people, get what you need, get out. But we also have curbside pickup. We have delivery. There's all types of options to make sure food is delivered to your location, or to make sure you limit those trips everywhere and stop going 2 and 3 times a day.
Yeah. When you do a look back, when we first started this and we were talking about what can we do to curb the spread of this disease, and we talked about distancing, we talked about stay at home, we talked about hygiene, we talked about 6 feet, talked about the masks. Well, when you do the look back and you look at all those things that we've done, the message has never changed. And it has played out that doing those things, following those practices, has made an incredible difference. So continue to do all that we've been saying all along here, and we'll get through this safely.
And sometimes I've even run out to the store and picked up something and forgot the mask. I need to be held accountable for that as well. So physical distancing, as we're reminded, versus social distancing. Physical distancing is key. So Tom DeLorme's given us that key. It's physical distancing, keeping from one another and doing what you need to do.
Yeah, try to stay mentally healthy as much as you can. There's all the different ways of communicating via, if it's the phone, or Facebook, anything you can. Just pick up a phone, connect with your loved ones, connect with your friends, get out safely and get the exercise that you need. Try to stay healthy both physically and mindfully.
Doc, we're going to let you go. We'll hopefully see you next week, I hope.
Sure, sounds good.
And we'll have everything going. So thank you. We're going to have Bert Cook in just a minute. Tell Dr. Leonard.
Spread out, but trees are free and donations are appreciated. Free food for Laporte families tomorrow, Wednesday, at the high school. Thank you to the Food Bank of Northern Indiana for coming to Laporte once again to feed our residents. line up on F Street from 10 to noon to collect your box of food supplies.
And then Laporte County Recycling can now accept recyclable left outside of the bin. This is helpful for when you have extra boxes that don't fit in your bin. Please remember to flatten items. We are also working with our supplier for the spring pickup. We don't have a date yet. They want to be, RTS wants to be comfortable in picking up, be safe. And so we've got work to do there, but with all expectation, we are going to have another spring cleanup day. So just don't put your couches and everything else out until the date has been set. And with that, we've had some other exciting news. And Bert Cook here is our Economic Development Director from Leap. Bert, welcome back, and we've got some great news today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Mayor. I'm excited to be here, excited to talk a little bit about Rural King.
Yes, Rural King, and this is something that's been going on for some time. If you don't mind, give a little background what Rural King did on almost what I'll call a Midwest or national basis, picking up when Kroger went bankrupt.
When Kmart went bankrupt, Kmart, correct.
Yes.
Yes, we're across the nation. Rural King purchased a number of former Kmart locations. They set up really well for Rural King stores, and so in 2017, Rural King acquired the Maple Lane Mall, and again, along with a variety of other properties across the nation, and began to look at what their development plans would look like and where they would open up stores. And so, many people have asked the question over the years, what's going on with Maple Lane Mall? Why has nothing occurred there? The easy answer to that was that property went through a big transition as Kmart went bankrupt. And then in addition to that, Rural King took some time to develop their strategies and figure out what they wanted to do with that property.
And so with these type of deals that take more than 6 months, take more than a year, they can take years. The one constant is Leap, the economic development team, as they cross over between mayors, old and new. And one of the things I think, though, with the leadership, you also want to give a little shout out to former Mayor Mark Krentz for his involvement as he brought this project forward into our administration. And that's one thing you see, previous administrations, future administrations, we're all sharing in different projects, but the one constant is the LEAP organization that does the day-to-day. But again, we want to thank Mark Krentz as well.
Yeah, the saying goes, economic development is a team sport, and it couldn't be more true. Projects take such a long time to come to fruition. In order for that to happen, you need a whole team of people working together, pulling in the same direction, and we've absolutely had that here on a number of projects, but this one in specific today. And really pleased that the work of Mayor Krentz and obviously Mayor Dermody, as you took over and your administration, pushed this to the finish line, got those final agreements signed and sealed and delivered. It's been an exciting process, and I think it's going to be very good for our community.
And that's the main part of this. It's not so much the credit, it's what the community receives out of this, and people seem to be excited for Rural King. And by the way, Dusty Schoaf, thank you. Nikki Paxson Madden, I agree. We have equipment, but I need to upgrade. I'm techno unsavvy, so I'm learning as we go, but I appreciate it, and we will get there, and thank you for your patience with our technology. But so tell us a little bit about Rural King for those who don't know Rural King, and what does that mean to the mall, to what I'm excited about, the pavement, the parking lot, because when people see coming in Highway 2, it's not the most pleasant look when people come in and now all of a sudden we're in the game.
Yeah, so the west side of town, I know it's something that when you were campaigning, Mayor, you heard quite often, and we hear on a regular basis people asking to see new development go on that side of town, specifically with the Maple Lane Mall. It's been a fixture of our community for years, and I think everyone would agree it's really fallen into a state of disrepair over the last 10 to 15 years. So I think the first part of this equation for us is we have to look at what can we do to assist with putting that property back into use, to develop the pride that's associated with the gateway of our community and people being able to shop and to drive by that facility and be pleased with what they see. Now, as Rural King looked at, we talked about how they acquired so many different properties across the nation. One of the things that they did, which is consistent with most businesses, is took a look at the conditions of the buildings, the markets that those buildings sit in, and they developed a list or a plan for when they would develop each site. They can do about 5 to 6 new stores a year based on their development team. And to be quite frank, Laporte's property, Maple Lane Mall, fell way down on that list. Mostly
How many?
a lot.
A lot, yes.
We were looking, 6, 7, 8 years out at the earliest. And most of that is due to the fact that the building was in such a sad state and needed so much work and needed so much money, frankly, to get it to a place where it was safe and usable again. And so we were able to step in with partnership, the Redevelopment Commission and the Laporte Urban Enterprise Association both came to the table to say, how can we help to find the resources necessary to encourage Rural King to not only open the store here, but open it in a time frame that is maybe more desirable from our perspective. And so, we went from 6 years, 7 years, 8 years out to the very next year, which is that store will be open by March of 2021. Which is going to, fast approaching, so they'll start work on that almost immediately. The big modification that people will notice there, first and foremost, is the new parking area. So there are issues with the parking area that's there now. There'll be some new drive lanes, new pavement, landscaping, lighting, stormwater retention. It will do wonders, I think, to clean up the look of that property and ultimately to make the way people access the Maple Lane Mall much more efficient and much more safe. So the Redevelopment Commission is pledging $550,000 to assist with the rehab of that parking lot. And much as we talked the last time I was here, that is a tax increment financing district, so almost a great portion of those dollars were actually paid by former owners of the mall into that allocation area or TIF district over the last 20 years. And so we're able to utilize those real property taxes and put them back into the property to, again, encourage the further development there of the Rural King and then subsequently the rest of the mall as well. And then the Urban Enterprise Zone also is going to assist with some grant dollars too that we'll have some more definition on as Rural King determines what else will go in the mall, because the Rural King store will open in the former Kmart space, and you have Dunham's who just signed a new 5-year lease out there. But the former Al's space is still available, as well as a couple other spaces. Rural King is focused on bringing a grocer back to the mall, which we're excited about because that's something else that we see.
We think that's very important.
Absolutely. So depending on how those tenant spaces are developed and built out, the investments that Rural King will need to make into the mall can vary and will be flexible, and the UEA will kind of stand at the ready to assist with those improvements as they become more clear.
And again, the parking lot is going to be just not flat pavement. There will be landscaping. The facades will be across the board, across the entire mall, will be addressed. So even without a tenant in certain buildings, they're going to look appropriate, ready to walk in and.
Yeah, we kind of call that the gray box. So it's readying the interior for whatever use that might be, cleaning it up, putting new drywall and things like that in place. So all that will occur. There were some great suggestions. I saw a comment the last couple of days about removing the old signage that's on the building. I think that's a great point, and that's something that they're required to do. They'll be removing and replacing a lot of the metal work that's there, some of the brickwork, cleaning some of that up. So the whole building will take on a brand new look, starting with Rural King, but the entirety of the building will go through that same process. And the parking lot is somewhat the cherry on top because that's probably the greatest eyesore that exists there right now. So the new parking lot will do wonders, and again, from a safety standpoint, will make a big improvement as well, because right now people drive in various directions throughout that lot. That'll be more defined, and there'll be clear drive lanes from now moving.
So you won't want to be just sneaking through the parking lot of the mall anymore. You're going to want to stay on 2 coming into town.
Correct.
But it'll look fantastic. What can people expect out of Rural King? What's Doc Leonard going to find when he walks into Rural King.
So I've always been impressed with the wide variety of products they have. So they cater to the agricultural community, which is somewhat obvious, but they also sell a wide variety of other products, home supply, some hardware and things like that, some ammunition. It literally is a big box store that has a really large product selection. Prices are good. They're not in this market right now in Laporte, obviously, but I think we have a store in Niles, which is probably the closest one. Have been up there and visited that. People speak very highly of not only what they sell there, but also how the company operates, how it treats its customers. So I think they'll be a really good fit for our market.
That's fantastic. And here's the neat thing, not only about Rural King, this is just what I'm going to say is the first of many to come. When I've seen other communities that are buckling down during this COVID situation, Laporte Leap, with the leadership of Bert Cook, has led the charge in continuing to target businesses, bring opportunities to Laporte, and I think we're seeing this is the first example, things that have taken a couple years or things that have just started, and you've got a lot on your plate that Laporte's kind of an interest point for many businesses.
Yeah, we're excited about that, Mayor. I think a big portion of that is being able to work together to develop strategies and plans and execute those as a team. We've got you've got a great administration, a great team of people. We've got a great city council, Redevelopment Commission. The Urban Enterprise Zone is a group that has done a tremendous amount of good work in Laporte. So, everyone pulling in the same direction makes a big difference, and excited to see some of that come to fruition here in the next few months.
Anything you want to share with us?
You're like
I
Stan
know we
Maddox
can't, I
now.
was going to say sandbag that, but I know, I'm that guy because I know we can't share, but things are coming. And when people want to show their interest, and we've seen a lot more commitment in Laporte, can they go to Leap? Can they go on the website and maybe share their thoughts of what they want the future of Laporte to look like?
Sure, and our website is, we've talked at previous meetings, but laportepartnership.com. You'll find a ton of resources there. If you have questions about some of, what's available, what we're working on, you'll find that there. But it's also a link directly to us. We're happy to have discussion over, what you think would be a good fit in the community. There's some great ideas over the years. We've got some of the projects that are reality, are part of our reality today, have come from, people in the community who suggested, hey, I really like to see this, or I think there's a market for this particular use here. So we're happy to take that information. Please feel free to contact us at any time, and we'll put that to good use.
But again, there is a plan. It's not just we're going to put something everywhere and every which way. We have the west side, the mall, we have Newport Landing, and then we also have downtown. And I think in the future, Nick Minnick, our engineer, Bert Cook, we can all sit down. And one of the things that I think we need to do a better job of is share our vision of not just one area. In fact, the glue, as I call her, Annette Leffler, even mentioned this, I got to give her credit, but of how everything's going to come together between Newport Landing, between downtown, between the West Side Mall, and including our park system that is bar none the best around, and combined all of this together.
Yeah, and people should keep in mind too that one of the other parts that I think may be less well understood. Many of these projects involve private ownership, and government we have the ability to do a lot of things, but they all act, they all require us to act in partnership with the private sector. So the Maple Lane Mall, again, is a great example. It's owned by a private company. So, for people who say, well, we should demolish the mall, you have to find a way to either purchase that from the private entity or work with them in order to execute some sort of a plan. We're not in the business of dictating what, private investment can occur and how that occurs. So we have to find ways to work in partnership with those companies that own property in the port.
And as well, we want to have truck traffic off downtown. We want to address the old or current hospital site, as I see Dr. Leonard here. They're going to be moving into an unbelievable facility that we are proud of in Laporte and our partners here in Laporte. But we're going to have to look at what do we do with that building. And I think there's great green space opportunity. Unless Bert can write a personal check here to pay for the demolition, we've got some work to do. But if you think about removing truck traffic off. We're talking about the north-south connector, but doing things. And as well, don't you see that as a green space that the city can take advantage of someday?
Yeah, our downtown is without a doubt, one of the absolute most attractive pieces of our community. We hear that on a regular basis. Other communities are very envious of what we have in our historic downtown. So utilizing the current hospital property to add to what we have going on downtown is a tremendous strategy. I think there's a lot of different avenues that we can pursue in order to make that happen, but we'll make it happen in a way that adds to the fabric of the downtown and becomes a real asset for the community. I credit Ashley Dickinson and the entire hospital staff. They've been
And
great.
Dr. Leonard,
And
right?
Dr. Leonard, they've been great about, staying in constant communication and been willing to have those discussions to figure out, how we work together in order to make that a reality.
Well, LEAP is our arm of economic development, and I'm telling you what, I stand with them every day. They are special. We'll take on Valpo, Chesterton, South Bend, Michigan City. Bring it on. We're coming. We're going to work regionally, but we're also we're going to compete, and there's nothing wrong with a little bit of competition. And Dusty Schoaf even mentioned, I'd have to say, the envy of our lakes, because we do have great lakes.
Absolutely.
And you take a drive around the weekends, and you go, man, there's so much here. How do you fit it all in?
Yeah, I think sometimes we can get a little jaded in when people that have not been to Laporte, come here and see that all our community has available. I think we hear the how impressed people are with just the way our community is made up and all that we have to offer here. We have to be proud of that, and we as spokespeople for our
Laporte
community,
proud?
Absolutely. We need to be the champions of the community and continue to tell people about all that Laporte has to offer. I think there's so much potential there.
And you might see the Delormes out cycling too. Stop and tell them hello, Ruth and Tom. But also with the new normal, with businesses looking to be more remote, working remotely, working from home, what a better place than Laporte to work and then enjoy with your family, to come out, enjoy all that we have.
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor. And the Surf Air Gig City fiber project that's going on right now, I think that couldn't be better timed. If you've driven downtown here the last week or month or so, you've seen that there's been work going on there. Those are fiber poles that are going through our community. Surf Air has made a major commitment and major investment into Laporte. They're going to be providing access to businesses and residents who are looking for high-speed internet access. To your point, those people who may be living in Chicago or working in Chicago, this would our community be a perfect place for them to move to and be able to work remotely. You have that connectivity, which seems so important. And another thing, Mayor, you may have heard this too, but we had a lot of our downtown businesses who are obviously having to do things in a different way with COVID. We've heard some really good feedback of we've changed our business model, we've acted in different ways, and how that positively impacts their bottom line. So, we got to be willing to adjust, willing to embrace change, but I think many of our businesses are doing that as we speak.
That's fantastic, and I notice Tom Casey walks in the door, our developer who's rethinking our downtown, providing great, wild, different ideas that I just absolutely love. Off the hook, I just stay out of his way, and we're putting together some interesting things. And then Mike Riley, your partner in crime from LEAP, says Mark Schreiber and Jeremy Sobecki will be joining LEAP and AMA to talk about the parks and the lakes, hopefully at a location at one of our parks. Great things to do as we get out and exercise, but on June 5th. Mm-hmm. So that will be unbelievable. Another round to show what makes Laporte special. Tom Casey, anything you want to add while we're live here on the air? He's
No comment right now.
all right. He's
Dropped in to see Bert.
he will just you'll see what he's working on. So again, Bert, anything you want to add? I don't know why you're sitting here versus out bringing all these businesses here with Laporte, the special place. But this is our team. I stand with this team, and I'm telling you what, Laporte is on the move because of not only our department heads, but our LEAP partnership, but you, the residents. You're finally looking up saying, hey, enough is enough, and we're going to set new standards. We're cleaning up the sidewalks, and one of the things, Jeff Batchelor and I were out this morning along Pine Lake to start cleaning up those sidewalks where grass has been coming through. And, it's not easy to go to the homeowners and say, hey, what do you need? We want to help you. tell us what you need, but we want people coming into our community and they see spotless sidewalks without grass coming through, and it's a place that people want to stay, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I think the pride within the community, I'm sure you've probably felt it, Mayor, but we've noticed a major difference here, and people are excited about what's going on, and I think that's some momentum that we want to make sure we keep moving forward.
And Terry Ritter mentioned, what about his idea about camping grounds at Stone Lake, Pine Lake? I love that idea. In fact, Bert Cook told me 8 months ago, the only place to go was to Potato Creek, and you think Laporte would be a great place for cabins.
We come from a big camping family, and they bring a lot to local economies. So if we could make that work in some way, that would be a great addition to our community.
And we have our own ESPN's version of 30 for 30. We're going to have 30,000 people by 2030 at the latest. We've been at 22,000 too long, and I'm telling you right now, our focus is 30 for 30, and we will get there, and Laporte will be the place to be. So, and also some of you that had issues with the technology on the hearing, I apologize, but I am getting better. But you can call me directly at 363-7293 or text me, and we'll get your answers, and we'll get you connected. So we're excited. Bert, anything you want to add? A contact number?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mayor. Appreciate it. If anyone needs to get a hold of us, again, our website is laportepartnership.com. Telephone number is 219-324-8584, and we'll look forward to talking to him.
And I want to thank Jess Bruder, our communications director, and Tim Frankie, our volunteer extraordinaire from Duneland Media. Check it out. Now is the time to be pushing your business on social media when you're competing for those dollars. Call Tim Frankie at Duneland Media, which the number is 312-316-0980. 0980. And that's Tim Frankie's cell. Call him direct, and he will connect you to your business to grow during this difficult COVID time. Otherwise, text me, 363-7293, and we will see you next Tuesday as we go to once a week as COVID has slowed down, and you've done your part, but we must continue. In Dr. Leonard's words, you must continue to protect yourself for everybody else around you. So use the masks, social distancing, and again, grocery stores are not the entertainment value of the week. So get in, get out, and do what you need to do. Everybody have a great night. Thank you.